Hello and welcome to the Catch a Lift Coaches Corner. I am KAL lead coach Melissa, and this week I am honored to welcome U.S. Army veteran Kevin Demmons to the show. Kevin is a U.S. Army veteran, avid outdoorsman, KAL athlete, and coach. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coaches Corner. Kevin, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Not too much. So happy to have you on today. It's great to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's a nice day. It's above freezing, so it's a plus.
That's a win for this type of year in the north, right?
Yeah.
So Kevin, thanks again for being here today. I want to start right off, talk a little bit about your service to our great country. When did you enlist in the military?
I enlisted in 2011.
Okay. And I know, from talking to you in the past, you come from, a long line of military veterans. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and how that spurred you to join the military?
Yeah, absolutely. Both my grandparents or my grandfathers on both sides of my family were in the military. One was in the Army and one was in the Navy. Um, I just kind of grew up knowing that at some point in my life, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do my time, I guess.
Yeah. So tell me, we talked a little bit about this, but it's a pretty interesting story. So how did you end up becoming airborne? How did that come into your path?
Well, it was I originally wanted to go in the Navy like my grandfather, and the only thing I knew for a fact I wanted to do some type of combat, just because that's what I always wanted to do. But so I went and took the ASVAB and things like that, and I had pretty much everything signed besides the actual final contract with the recruiter and to go to Buds, and I scored 1 point too low on the test in order for them to allow me to go to Buds. So then I was pretty much, I was a little bit devastated by it, but I wasn't taking that test again because I hate taking.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
I
feel
just
that. Yeah.
I walked out the door and went like two doors down with the Army. Went in there. I was like, this is what I got on my ASVAB. I want to jump out of planes and do all the HUA stuff. And I was like, is this good enough? And I mean, evidently it was, because he was excited.
Yeah.
He brought everything out, had me start signing stuff. And next thing you know, I was headed to basic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you went and did your basic and advanced individual training, and then did you go to jump school right after that?
Yep, yep. We had, I think it was 6 or 7 days between the two. But,
Okay.
or no, I'm sorry, that was between basic and the advanced AIT. It's
Yep.
all one with the infantry, but
Okay.
so in between those we had a break. But actually, it was like I graduated from basic and then I got on the bus and went straight to airborne school. So yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
Tell us a little bit about airborne school for anybody listening that might not know what that all encompasses.
It's pretty cool. It's a lot of hurry up and wait, which is military in general, but
We can all relate to that. Yeah.
yeah, it was cool because it's like your first little taste of freedom when you get out of basic. But then you get slapped right in the face with reality when they start, the black hats start running around yelling at you. So,
Yeah.
but it was really cool. There's a lot of different ways that they train you to get you ready to jump out of a plane. Some of it's a little funny, like there's a zip line that you go down, and then at a certain distance they tell you to let go, and you have to, do your parachute landing fall, stuff like that. Jump out of mock doors, which is just like a building with a door open and just pretend you're the plane. But and they also have one where it's like a kind of like a skyscraper type of thing where it brings you get to the top, and then it just releases and it drops you and your chute opens.
Oh,
So
geez.
you get the experience of that, and then after that you just start jumping.
Okay. That's awesome. How long was airborne school?
uh, I want to say it was 2 weeks,
Okay.
maybe three.
Okay. So that's man, quick and dirty, and you learn a lot in a short period of time, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, yeah. They,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of sit around and listen to the instructor talk, but I mean, there's also
Yeah.
a lot of hands-on, because I mean, you can only listen to someone tell you what to do so many times, then you actually have to do it.
Without practically doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally. So, Kevin, where and when did you deploy?
I deployed in 2011, and it was to Paktia province, Afghanistan.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit? And again, I use the term average or regular day very loosely because you're in a war. But what was kind of an average day like for you? What were you doing in an average day?
The average day, I mean, we would wake up at, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock and go and clean the mortars, and then after that we would probably go eat breakfast, and then there's a lot of downtime on an
Yeah.
average day on a deployment. Definitely hit the gym and maybe do some type of training, map, land nav or something. But most of the time it was just kind of sitting around and waiting for the actual mission or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
it's lots of movies.
Yeah. When you guys would go out on missions, what type of work were you doing?
I was a security element attached to the scout platoon. Um, my primary was 11 Charlie, which is a mortar, and then
Okay.
my secondary is 11 Bravo. Basically, if you're uh, airborne infantry and you're a mortar, what that means is you do everything that everyone else does, except for you have to carry a mortar also. So it's just carrying extra weight, pretty much. But
Okay.
it it was good. I got to meet a lot of cool people. I got to
Yeah.
see some cool stuff that I never would have seen because I wasn't a sniper. Um, the downfall of it would be that you're attached to an element that literally climbs up the mountain and sits there and waits and then climbs back down. So lots of climbing.
Yeah. That's wild. That's wild. Um, so I want to talk, Kevin, and focus a bit on the transition, from being in the army back into the civilian world. Would you talk to us about what that experience was like going from active duty right into the civilian world?
It was weird. Like you never really get the chance to stop and think about any issues that there might have been until uh, until you actually have time to sit around. Because I mean, when you're active, you don't have time to do anything besides what you're told to do.
Yeah.
Place to be. You have time to wake up. You have time to do this and that, and so it's a challenge when you finally get out, and then you have time to sit back and
Yeah.
I guess reminisce or have. I guess it all just kind of has time to sink in.
As you kind of look back at that time, those early years, what did you start to look to, you've got all this time to reflect. And as we know, that it can be good, but it can also turn kind of detrimental in your life too. Um, what did those early, months and kind of years look like for you? What were you going through during that time?
Uh, well, it was hard. It was a lot of. Can you excuse me 1 second?
Yep, you're good.
Hey, sorry about that.
It's all right.
What was the question again?
Um, so, what types of things were you going through, those early months and years, as you kind of started to unpack your time in the army?
It was really. I had a hard time expressing myself. I had a hard time talking to people. Um, I didn't really go out that much. My, people take for granted the ability to actually just have a basic conversation with someone.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like you actually have to think in your head. I mean, you're talking to them, you can say everything in your head perfectly fine, but then when
Yeah.
it's time to actually speak the words, it's like you just can't. And it's a really weird feeling. Um, so, I dealt with that and pretty much just ignored it or learned to deal with
Yeah.
it, I guess, until it just became too much. And I talked to my wife about it, and she's always been my biggest supporter and helped me with anything in life, especially this. And
Yeah.
So I went and talked to someone at the VA, and they they gave me a test on a computer, which is basically just asking you questions about your moods and things like that. And then they diagnosed me with PTSD, and from there, I started seeing someone.
So it's interesting, and something that struck me that you just said is something that I've experienced a lot, and I think it's hard to explain to people that have never experienced it, and it's very frustrating when you're living it, physically not being able to speak something, having the words that you want to say. Somebody can ask you, what are you thinking about, what's going on, and the words are all there, but you physically cannot speak them. um, that's definitely a difficult thing, and something I still struggle with, and most people are kind of like, what does that mean? um, so I definitely can empathize with that point. um, what did you start, so you started getting help at the VA. What about kind of like the search for belonging during this time and finding a new outlet? What did you start to look to?
Um, I started to. Well, there's a man named Bob Howe in Bingham, Maine, and he runs a place called Pine Grove Program, and what it is they take um, veterans or first responders or anyone who serves, basically. Uh, they'll take people out hunting and fishing for free.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Um, I saw a card at the VA, and I just figured, why not? And it's not going to hurt. It took me a little
Yeah.
while to decide to do it, but I
Right.
did. And Bob invited me up right away. I went on a deer hunt. Uh, in it was amazing. What got me was when I finally had time. I mean, I was alone and I had time to think, but I didn't
Yeah.
think about the bad things. I had
Yeah.
time to think, but all I was thinking about was what was around me. I was in the middle of the woods. It was winter time. You could see over a hilltop. It's a beautiful view, and it started to. In that time, it clicked. It was like, this all is so much bigger than me,
Yeah.
and how it made me feel. It was like, all right, now I need to start doing this more.
Yeah.
So then my wife, we even in Alaska when I was stationed there, me and my wife, we hiked a lot, did some really cool hikes. But I kind of stopped doing that when I came home,
Yeah.
and then that moment in the woods with Pine Grove was what I'd say it pretty much turned my life around.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Um, so the outdoors really was a catalyst in the beginning to get you back into something, that pre-deployment, pre-war that you enjoyed.
Yeah,
How do they kind of factor into your life now, and how do you continue to use the outdoors for recovery?
I mean, I fish some. I just got into fletching a couple years ago. That's a challenge in itself.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yeah.
I hunt still. I didn't really get to do much this year just because kind of life much stuff at us. But we hike a lot. I'm hopefully gonna um, start jumping out of planes again next year in the spring.
It's awesome.
Just anything that gets me outside. Um, I believe for a fact, like if people would take a day and just go out, and you don't have to do some crazy hike or crazy mountain climb or something, but just drive up to the top of a summit. Just drive there.
Yeah.
Get out and just sit down and look around. Shut your phone off. No electronics. Just be there in the moment. And there's no way you're going to leave there in a worse mood than you showed up. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion. But
Can you speak to that a little more, Kevin? So that's terrific advice, get out there like that. And or what advice would you give to someone that does that and they're like, I get out there and my mind's still going to these other places I don't want it to, or it's still really racy. How do you kind of combat that some?
well, honestly, that's a thing that I definitely don't have completely figured out. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. The way I look at it is when you get out in the nature and you are seeing something so vast and so just beautiful, it humbles you. It makes you think that
Yeah.
yes, you have your issues and you have your concerns and you have, the stuff that you deal with and your family deals with, but in the grand scheme of everything, you're just a small little piece of the puzzle. And it makes you, I don't know how it does it. It just makes me happier. It makes
Yeah.
me just appreciate life, I guess, if you don't already do it. And
Right. Yeah. I know for myself, I've found incredible healing, from the outdoors, from hunting, from fly fishing, hiking different outdoor activities. And I think you're right. It definitely does humble you to this place where you realize there's a lot more than just, me or this kind of, world that I'm living in my head that, might not be the
yep.
healthiest place all the time. Uh, so yeah, I would definitely encourage anyone to get out and do that, get in the outdoors, spend some time. I know another thing, Kevin, that we really want to talk to you about is fostering dogs and spending time with dogs. And see, look at that light up on your face. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, my wife and I foster and rescue dogs. I want to say the number is around 25 or
Oh my
30
gosh.
that we've rehomed.
Wow.
Um,
That's incredible.
it could be more than that. And my wife's going to say this, like, no, it's actually, but she does I would say, as far as the day operations, as far as like taking care of them throughout the day, because my wife's got a few medical issues where she can't drive. So, she's home a lot more with the dogs than I am. But we do, we take in dogs from all different walks of life. We've been involved with a couple different programs that starts down south, and they rescue the dogs, and then the dogs get shipped up, or not shipped up, driven up here in Maine, and
Yep.
then we just go pick up. A lot of times when you get a rescue dog, you're starting at zero, but you're starting at
Yeah.
zero with a dog that's had 2 or 3 years of learning bad behavior.
Yeah.
So it's definitely me and her, working with the individual dogs. You got to teach them, house train them sometimes. I mean, a lot of times they might be a little bit food aggressive. You might hear certain noises. They might be scared of people in general.
Yeah.
We had one dog that we bought her as a pet, but understanding that afterwards that it was a rescue in Alaska. Her name was Leah. She just recently, like 2 months ago, passed away. She so it was very clear that someone abusive or did something to scare the dog. So over time, keep in mind, like she was 100% always trying to be in my lap. Like she went to be deathly scared of me, even when I came, loving being around me, and it was just great. So to see that transformation of a dog that had nothing in life, and then the first time they realize that they can have something and it's actually a good thing, and they're happy
Yeah.
and they understand it's real. You can see it in their eyes. It's like
Yeah.
a new appreciation for life. It's
That's so
different, but
cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
around the same grounds as what I was talking about with being in the nature or finding
Yeah.
something that you're passionate about for the first time in a long time. It's like it's a new day. It's a new world.
Yeah. What do you think it is specifically about fostering the dogs or spending time with the dogs in general, that's kind of aided in your recovery?
I would say that experience of being around the dog that didn't have anything or didn't even realize that there was a world. We've had dogs that they said they called it shark bait, and what it was that, like, they have fighter dogs and then they have bait dogs that basically just they bring up as close as they can to the fighter, and they just to get this one riled up,
Yeah.
to get the one that's going to be fighting angry, or I don't
Yeah.
really know the details,
Right.
but anyway, we got him, and he was scared of if he would throw up every time he was in the truck, because
Oh,
I'm assuming that's the only time he was in a vehicle
right.
was when they were
To go to a
transporting him
fight. Yeah.
or something. I'm not sure, but I mean, once he came out of his shell, once he realized that we weren't going to hurt him, it was like night and day. I mean, that dog was so happy. All it wanted to do was right on top of us. I mean, me and my wife, when we sit down on the couch, we have two couches and two, and we'll all be on one. There's an empty couch in the living room, and there's even been times when we had a lot. I mean, one time we had like 7 dogs. I would be sitting on the floor, and then it would come to me, and I'd look around and be like, why am I on the floor right now? Because the dogs have the couch.
Yeah.
So and it's a really fun thing to do. You know, we're both good with it. You know, we both want it.
Yeah.
Can't imagine it would work if one spouse was
Right.
not wanting the dogs. But
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's really something where I'm sure you both have to be, fully invested in it. Yeah.
yeah.
So Kevin, I want to transition a little bit here and talk to you about, your fitness.
Yeah.
How has fitness played a role in your recovery?
Fitness plays a huge role in the when I was going through my hard times, there was very little that I could control. I could control if I went outside, because honestly, it's free to go for a
Yeah.
walk. And I could also control if I worked out, because I don't have to necessarily have the latest and greatest equipment. I don't have to have a gym membership to work
Right.
out. I can work out in one spot. I can just do push-ups, burpees, air squats. I mean, it's not the best workout, but it'll definitely smoke you if you do enough of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
it was once I started to feel physically good about myself, I was able to feel more mentally good about myself, and that's kind of the thing that anything that I find that helps me, I try to look for places that also they do the same thing. And I originally started my own small little thing on Facebook, trying to encourage vets to come, talk and not talk about bad times or anything, but just communicate and
Yeah.
get help with fitness and stuff like that. I had all the right intentions, but I mean, it is not easy. And
Yeah.
obviously, Cal's got it figured out, because I definitely, I had like 4 or 5 people. They were all my friends, but no one was actually,
Yeah.
it just wasn't working as well as I had thought. So that's about the time when I had already applied for a little bit of help with gym equipment in the garage. It was probably, I think it was 18 months. And it was, Lynn called me, and just about the same time that I was working out, I started doing, working out in the garage and stuff. And she started talking to me about equipment. Sorry. So then we got to talking, and I don't know, one thing led to another. Me and her were talking about, what I liked about fitness and things like that. And it was out of nowhere. She was like, you know what? I think we need you. We need you on the team.
Yeah.
I need you. And I was like, all right, well, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Me 2 weeks later, I think I was signed up for the Westside Barbell strength coach certification, and I went through that course and got that, and now I'm certified through there. As soon as I finished that, the my PT Hub app was about to drop, and so it was like I got that certification, and then just about that same time, perfect timing, the PT Hub came up, and then right after that, we started letting vets sign up. So now I think I have around 13 different vets that I try to communicate with, as daily or weekly or as often as they want to. And that app is awesome too, because it's got like so many different ways that they can literally just take a workout that you put on there and just fill in the blanks, or they can use templates, or there's tons of different stuff. It's awesome. I recommend any veteran that's watching this at least check it out.
Yes, any Cal veterans listening, jump onto the landing zone. And once you're there, head to the tracking section and it'll be free apps. And Catch a Lift's app that we use is my PT Hub, and it has a form you can get signed up for it, and we'll get you guys going on it right away. Kevin, you mentioned, going through that certification process. What did it mean? What did it mean to you, to become certified as a coach?
It meant a lot to me because it was another avenue of me being able to help my brothers and sisters that are maybe at the same spot I was 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Uh, it, it's really hard to put into words what it means to me as far as giving back to the veteran community. I mean, I've been involved in at least 5 or 6 different programs since I got out. It just, a lot of times I thought about why in the grand scheme of things, why I came home and others didn't. And I decided a few years ago that I was going to live each day as if somebody was looking down, being proud of what I was doing rather than moping and sitting in the corner and feeling bad. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still bad days. But for the most part, I just try to live in honor of them and honor of anyone else in the future that, pays the ultimate
Absolutely.
sacrifice. And I just want to help as many people as you can. Cause I mean, helping them also helps you. It's not just,
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
It's human nature. It's gratifying when you actually get to help someone else, especially when you're talking about this type of help, which is the difference between life and death for a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I've always said, I mean, I think I get as much out of this, for my own personal recovery and journey as, anybody that I'm helping. And I'm so very grateful for that and for that opportunity to grow in this way. Talk to me about what it's been like, Kevin, being on the team as a Cal coach and kind of what that experience has brought to your life and what it means.
It is really cool. It's a small little family. And, when we have our coaches meetings, I look forward to being able to talk to everybody. It's just like, everyone's got everyone's back. It's kind of a veteran where if someone else served, you automatically have a little bit more of a bond with them without even talking to them. If you give them the benefit of the doubt more than you would give somebody else, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it's reality for me.
No, I know totally what you're saying.
It's just awesome to be around a bunch of like-minded people. And it's like anytime that Lynn will mention something or you will and say, look, we need some people to volunteer to do this or that. I haven't seen once yet where it's not every single coach there. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. We're all there for the same reason. And it's good to be around people like that. It's good to surround yourself with good people because, I mean, a lot of the people I look up to or follow because they're successful, but they're also good people. There's several military, Tim Kennedy, Pat McNamara, Andy Stumpf, and then you got guys like Joe Rogan and stuff like that, and they're always talking about surrounding yourself with good people. Because if you surround yourself with bad people, all you're going to get is bad out of it. So that's what I would say about the Cal team. It's just it's a great group of people, and they're all there for the same reason.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Talk to me about your individual training, Kevin. And what does that look like for you?
My individual training shifted over the last couple months. I was originally, for a long time, I was doing the powerlifting stuff and strongman. And I let strongman competition. I did my first one this year, and that was pretty awesome. And it's fun because it's always different. Like the thing I disliked about powerlifting was it was almost like a static type thing where it was the same main lifts for the competition, but there was no like today I'm going to add a little variety. I'm going to use one arm instead of both, and work
Yeah.
on stability muscles and stuff like that. And that's the stuff that I ended up really getting involved with. I started doing Pat McNamara. He has a combat strength training. I bought that and started to shift my training to more of uh, different planes of motion, the transverse, and things like that, where you're using your whole body movement and
Yeah.
stretching more and stuff like that. And it's been pretty cool. It's I definitely feel better, because I know when I was doing the strongman stuff or powerlifting, it was fun, but
Yeah.
I, it was only maybe 10 or 15 pounds, maybe 20, um, more than I am now. But that on my body, I could feel it. I
You
could
can
feel
feel it. Yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
stiff getting out of bed and stuff, and I was like, "Is this really worth it? Like, I'm not going to be world's strongest man. I'm
Yeah.
100 and well, then I think I was at 210 or 215, but
Yeah.
that's nothing. I'm pretty sure that's the
Yeah.
light weight or whatever class it is.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't. It was fun, but the risk wasn't worth the reward as far as
Yeah.
trying to keep doing it. So I shifted into more of a full body movement type stuff, and I love it. It's fun. I like the ability to be able to change one little thing in the movement, and it's a completely you
Yeah.
feel different muscles when you do it, and it also helps me because I don't get bored. I guess that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing with the powerlifting, was I kind of got bored with the whole
Yeah.
the same stuff every time.
Yeah.
But then I still do.
Yeah.
Basic powerlifting workouts and stuff like that. I still do all that stuff, but it's nice, and I think it's helped me a lot with my knee and stuff, because I tore my MCL in 2012. So
Yeah. Talk to me about training with bands. I know that bands are something that you've really gotten into recently. Talk about your experience with them, and also, how they could be beneficial for other people listening.
yeah, absolutely. The bands, I started doing more stuff with bands when I started combat strength training, and what it is all those little small, I think they're called small twitch muscles. It's your mobility or your stability. Your stability muscles. Like if you take a barbell and you press the barbell, it's a concrete type thing that
Yeah.
you're holding. It's not flexing. It's not.
Yeah.
There's no variable. If you take a bar that, like I took a wooden dowel and I drilled a couple holes in it and put some eye bolts in it, some carabiners, got the bands on it. If you take that and press that,
Yeah.
the whole time you're feeling every muscle in your arms and chest. I mean, you're just twitching. If nobody knows what I'm talking about, just go take a band and tie it to
Yeah.
something, press it, and see what you do. It's definitely you're gonna feel all those different muscles twitching, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
stability. It's a lot of core. I love it.
Yeah.
I obviously I'll never stop doing deadlift or squat, or I might do a little bit of bench. I do a lot more overhead press and stuff like that because of shoulder impingement and stuff with the bench. But I feel like I could easily get a full workout in every day with bands, sandbags, bands, and whatever you can make, or whatever, you don't have to have the latest and greatest stuff.
Yeah.
And I found that out once COVID hit.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. COVID definitely, I think it opened up a lot of people's eyes to that. Like, get creative with what you have, be it just body weight, doing different things with it, or just things around your house. So much of what's just in our house, you can use for your home fitness. It's just incredible. And bands, man, they're a beast. They certainly toast you. I love using bands.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's a special different kind of hurt, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, as far as like muscle size goes, I think bands are one of the fastest ways to do that. Because if you're going slow with bands, I mean, your muscles are constantly fighting themselves to just let the
Yeah.
pull you or push you or whatever you're doing. But yeah, I love them. I do love them. They're awesome.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit more about like the combat strength training that you are training right now, and kind of what that entails, or what a workout might look like with that?
Yeah, sure. So it's broke down in weeks. So you have your power day, strength day, speed and quickness, and then hypertrophy. Um, and what it mainly entails is you do 5 rounds of 5 workouts with limited rest. Power day
Okay.
is usually at 30 seconds to a minute rest in between each round, and then strength and speed and quickness is no rest. And hypertrophy is also no rest, but it's kind of like I'll do hypertrophy. It's all about just like kind of the bodybuilding stuff. It's just trying
Yep.
to basically make your muscles bigger. So the program is set up so you do 20 reps of one type thing. Say, I don't know, somebody doing curls for, bigger biceps. So you do 20 reps, but the whole thing with combat strength training is he focuses on time under tension, which like, so it's 2 seconds up, 2 seconds hold, and then 2 seconds down. And it's pretty, it's
Yeah.
intense. Those days suck, but
Yeah.
they're good. They work. But yeah, I know it's pretty much in a nutshell what combat strength training is. But anyone who thinks that they might like it, I would highly recommend getting it because I mean, this guy, he knows his stuff, and he went, and I think I watched a podcast where he went to a couple different professors and did a couple of years of studying and research before he even created the program because he didn't want to just throw
Right.
something out. So do sit-ups and push-ups and that's it.
Yeah.
Which also worked great, but
Oh,
it's
totally.
it's fun. It's really good for somebody who is in a home gym or a garage gym. Like you don't need to have the best of the best. You can literally
Right.
get a workout in with a cinder block and a sandbag, or anything else you have.
What's kind of so since transitioning to kind of this different style of training that you've been doing, a lot more stuff, bands, sandbags, like you said, using cinder blocks, just getting it done with what you have. Um, Tell me a movement or two that you've really enjoyed now, or that's really toasting you, and you're like, oh man, this one's money.
Yeah. So today I just found an awesome one. I call it the bicycle from hell. It's you take the band and you tie it to whatever you have as a stationary object that's going to
Yep.
hold it, and then you take it and you loop it around. You're laying on your back on the ground and you loop it around your foot. And when you do your like the ab workout where you do the bicycle kicks and you
Yep.
crunch each time opposite sides, you do that, but now you have a band that's pulling your
Oof.
leg the opposite direction. Yeah, it sucks, but it is
Yeah.
good. You
Oof.
can, you can definitely feel it in the core. Um, Another one I really like um, is just I guess a punch, where you hold the band in whatever hand you're punching with, and you just make sure that you're doing it. It's a full body thing. It's not a static
Yep.
press. You're twisting your core and you're pivoting on your foot. And anybody who boxes or has knows how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
That movement right there, it's really good, especially if you're doing it on power day, which is explosive. You go from 0 to 60
That's
instead of
awesome.
strength. Strength is more of a controlled. Doesn't have to be 2 seconds, but controlled the same speed each
Yeah.
way. I'm trying to think of another one. Today I took the band and tied it to a sandbag that wasn't going to move, and then I stretched it out and hooked it onto my belt that I do weighted dips with. So then I had the band trying to pull me off the dip
Oh
ramp when I
man.
did them.
Yeah.
Uh, Anything like that, I mean, you just feel it. Your arms just shake on the first rep. It's not even like you have to do all of them to get it. It's that effect of using bands. And anybody
That's so
who does it
cool.
for the very first time will definitely feel it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. I'm sure. So kind of expanding on all this, Kevin, a little bit, you obviously, you train at home, you're not out in a gym. what difference has it made to you having that access to home equipment and being able to train right at home?
It's huge. I mean, you can do a lot with a little, but at the same time, it's really good to at least have some stuff to,
Yeah.
to be able to have some type of equipment that you can use that's going to help you have a variety of stuff to do. Or it's more encouraging to go out into your garage gym if you know you actually have some equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can go out every day, like we said, and use a cinder
Yep.
block or a sandbag, but there's something to be said about knowing I have a squat rack, I have a barbell, I have a punching bag,
Yeah.
stuff. It's good to have you need equipment to get somewhere, and it's to be able to offer that to other vets like you guys do. It's incredible.
Yeah. The last question I want to ask you today, Kevin, what does it mean to you to be a Catch a Lift Fun veteran athlete?
It means a lot to me because I want to encourage as many veterans as I can to get involved with Cal. And if they don't want to get involved with Cal because they just don't want to talk to anyone, then that's fine. But I at least want to encourage them to get out and do something, because the difference between having the worst day ever and letting your own feelings and fears and emotions get the best of you, or having a great day, is literally, one step out the door.
Yeah.
It's that easy. People, some of the vets that, some of the guys that I've coached, guys and girls, I'll ask them what their goals are, because at first, when I first started this, it was like, or started into the coaching, it was more of I thought everyone was going to come and be like, I want to run a marathon, or I want to,
Right.
compete. I had this huge goal in mind. And then I started realizing that they want to be able to walk with their kids.
Yeah.
Or they want to, they want to do basic stuff. So literally a win is just going outside.
Yes.
Just taking that step, making yourself do it. I love being a hopeful face of encouragement to do that. Any way that I can.
Oh, that's absolutely terrific. That's absolutely terrific. And I think, you hit it right on the head, Kevin. I think sometimes, and we all do, we get caught up and think, everyone, they're wanting to, deadlift 500 pounds, move 400 on a bench. So they want to be competing, doing all this other stuff. But no, most people, they want to be, healthy, happy, and keeping up with their kids. And that's an absolutely beautiful thing, in any way we can help facilitate that is just a huge win, and it definitely helps everybody. And so thank you, not only for your service to our great country, but thank you for continuing to give back in so many ways to our wonderful veteran community. You make a tremendous difference in the lives of many.
Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. We will return next Wednesday at 1 Eastern Time with another new episode. Kevin, thank you again for your service to our country, for sharing your story and your light with all of us today. It was just terrific. Thank you to ID Technology for your continued support of all things Catch a Lift. Thank you to ClearBridge for your support of all things Catch a Lift. Thank you, Lynn Coughlin, Henry Pomper, Kaylee Nasiri, for continuing to make this podcast possible, and to the entire CAL team. And if there are any veteran members who would like to jump on for a few minutes and talk with Kevin and I, please just leave your name in the chat box and we'll get you guys a link to jump on. And until next week, keep it real and stay CAL strong.